Welcome back to In the Culture. I'm Sumeet.
I'm Jordan.
And we got super special guests today in the building. Tart, actor, comedian, writer, bunch more.
Ice Cube impersonator.
Carl, super good to have you in the studio with us today, my guy.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Right off the bat, man, what got you into theater, improv, entertainment, all that?
What got me into that stuff was just my love of comedy. My whole life, I was always labeled like the class clown, always being the goofy person with my family. At school, it was the way I kept gangs off my ass. Like, that's how I didn't get jumped. And when I stopped playing basketball because I wasn't good enough, I just started doing it. And it kind of hit like immediately.
You said you've been in comedy for grip, right? Like,
9 years now, man. Since
that's what's up, dude. He said
since I was born.
That's funny.
I've been professional for 9 years.
That's what's up, dude.
Yeah.
So just like growing up in West LA and being around, like you said, hoop, right? You were around basketball for a long time. You were pretty much in a place where I kind of like to think like ethnically you're judged pretty heavily, right? And being someone in comedy and not being like a Wayne's brother, like how was that experience?
What you mean?
Like not being so big, but like wanting to get into it and like doing it the way of like theater and improv. Like all these big names did theater first, right?
The big name guys, a lot of them do stand up first.
Right.
I chose to do improv just because I like the group aspect. Like coming from sports, like you just feed off your teammates. And so like the squad that I'm on right now, white women, like we just really play off each other really well. Everybody fits in their role really well. It's just like being on a sports team. There's so many like comparisons to being on an improv team and being on a basketball team. You got a shooter. You got a guy who sets up. You got a guy who plays defense. Like you got like all this stuff, and it works well. Like on like a good team, like everybody who does their thing. Like you got everybody can shoot, you know, like a basketball team. But some people do it more, and some people don't. Like, and when you know your role, you're good. So I think I just found comfort in improv as opposed to stand up. Stand up's hard. You gotta write it. I've always been the type of person to come off the top of my head with stuff. So I was just like, I'm gonna do this. Like I'm gonna go this route as opposed to like trying to stand up and make these people. Also, audience, I kind of cheated. Like improv to me is kind of a cheat. Like, I mean, stand-ups will say this. It's still hard. Like, stand-ups can't do it. They're scared. They're scared of it a lot of times. Ones that don't do both. But I think improv audiences are always a little bit more warm and welcoming than stand-up audience. Stand-up audience kind of go like, make me laugh. Like, who are you? What do you have to offer me? And improv audience is like, okay, like, I know you're making this up, so I'm already impressed that everything you're doing is made up. Stand-up is not like that. People work on that material. Like we watch a Chris Rock special, a Dave Chappelle special, and they've been working on that material for a year, 2 years, like going to small-ass clubs all over the place and like just like drilling the same jokes over and over and over again until they get them to where it sounds like to us on screen that they made them up.
That's what kind of gets me about stand-up. Like you just said, like they got to perform the same shit every night. Like it's so... You know, like how they don't let you record and stuff while you're doing that. Like, I think it's crazy. That's why improv is so impressive to me, too.
It's fun, man. I mean, it's not as, like, you can't watch an improv show on television.
You have to watch it in person.
You got to watch it in person.
Right.
Like, they tried to tape improv shows. They've tried it, and it's just boring to watch. Like, everyone's like, wait, what? Like, it's so many nuances that it's such a live theater thing. But improv itself is just a tool, like, to get you, like some people use it as a sketch writing tool. Like, that's how I started. Like writing sketches was I improvise them in my head. Like, once I learned the rules of improv, how to build a scene, making it up off the top of my head, I was able to write it down after and go, okay, I like that part, I'm gonna say that again. Or I like that, I'm gonna write that down. This person says this person says that. Conflict resolution, exposition, like all this stuff, the body of it, the game of the scene, all that stuff I learned through improv. Improv is not a means of like, it has become a performance art, but when it started, it wasn't that. It wasn't like, ooh, let's sit down and watch improv. No, it's like, let's sit down and watch sketch comedy. And then they're gonna do some improvs to like build new sketches. Like that's how it like started.
That's what's up.
And then people were like, oh, we should be showing this. Like, cause they would, like the Second City in Chicago started it and they would get suggestions from the audience and then go backstage and improvise scenes that they were gonna come back out the second half and do. This is in like the 50s and 60s. And they were like, oh, we're gonna go backstage and do this, and then we're gonna come back out and show y'all what we did backstage. But like this dude, Del Close, was like, yo, we should show them this. Like they should be seeing this. And everybody's like, no, you can't show them this. This is raw. Like this is crazy. And he was like, he was a wild dude, drug addict, and Like he was like, no, we got to show people this. Like, and he built his theater off of showing people that raw, like behind the scenes, and that's what became long form improvisation.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy. What was your like first big thing that like kind of like put you out there just from improv? Like the next step after improv?
MADtv was my first like job. Like,
That's cool.
MADtv.
Yeah.
Well, I love MADtv.
Yeah. I was a writer on MADtv. I auditioned for it. Went in a bunch, like screen tested for it. That's what they do right before you get the job. I'm thinking I'm gonna get the shit. Can I cuss on this?
Yeah, you good.
Okay. Fuck! No, I'm thinking like I'm gonna get the job, and they're like, all right, we went with somebody else, and that's heartbreaking. But LA's a city of rejection, you know.
Yeah.
But I get there, and they're like, hey, but we loved your audition so much. We thought it was so funny. It was so unique. I was like, why you niggas didn't pick me then?
Yeah,
but like,
hey.
yeah. But I was like, we loved your audition so much. We want to get you in here somehow. Would you be interested in writing on the show? And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then they picked another guy because, you know, he was the only one black dude in the cast or something like that.
Yeah.
So they picked this other dude who's a friend of mine, and I just like made it like, instead of being hurt by it, I was just like, you know, I'm gonna make him the star of this show. Like, I'm gonna write all my bits specifically. Like, I wrote for everybody, but like I really drove him to like be like, you gonna be the star. Like, I'm gonna live vicariously through you. I'm gonna let you do the stuff that I would have wanted to do. And just kind of, he was a standout on the show because of that. So like,
Who was it?
this dude, his name is Jeremy Howard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out Jeremy Howard.
Shout out Jeremy Howard. He's on his way up too. He's killing it.
That's what's up.
Booking a lot of work. But yeah, like that was my first like thing. Like I got that from doing improv. I would say like that's like the first big job.
That's
that
crazy,
got.
man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So like my introduction to you was Culture Kings, right? So like, shout out Culture Kings podcast. Shout out to Jaquise and Edgar.
I give that a listen.
Yeah, but like,
You ain't listened to it yet?
I haven't listened to it yet.
he's not a podcast dude, bro.
I'm
We
not
gotta
even on
get
it no more. Yeah.
gotta get him on that.
Yeah. You gotta listen to the podcast.
Carl already
Podcast
left,
is
dude.
dope.
He left and came back already.
Damn, I'm gonna have to listen to some old ones.
Yeah.
But like, I love the podcast. Like, it's crazy.
Sure.
Like, just talking about Black culture first off, awesome. Talking about just everything as far as, because all three of you are trying to come up in the industry right now,
Yeah.
right? So it's dope. And that's where I started to kind of be like, okay, like, this is dope. Like, all these dudes are gonna be like tight, because I started looking into all of you, which is dope. And just like going off the Black culture piece to it, like, how do you feel about like the Black portrayal in the entertainment industry?
It's getting better. We're still highly underrepresented.
Totally.
Like, only 4.8% of television writers like are Black, and
Carl, one of them.
one of them, me and a lot of my homies. Like, it's insane that we'll all get together and be like, yo, like 7 of us in here are network television writers, and we all know each other. That's bad. Like, there should be strangers.
Yeah.
There should be more people that we don't know like doing it. But I also think that it's certain things that we have, like, I try to like let people know about writing, and like, you don't always have to perform. A lot of people want to perform. I didn't even know what improv was before I started. Like, I thought if you wanted to be a comedian, when I first said, you know what, people have been telling me this all my life, I'm gonna see if I can make some money off of it.
Yeah.
I went straight to stand up, hated it, and I thought, well, that was it. I gave it the college try, like, and I didn't realize that there was a whole other faction of comedy that I could be doing. And then I started doing research on people. So like, I want people to get more Black people to get into improv. Like, you don't have to do stand up if you're funny. Like, go learn how to do improv. It helps with acting.
Yeah.
Like, especially nowadays, like more improvisers and sketch comedians are getting work as opposed to stand ups. Like, in the 90s, it was like every stand up had a TV show, Hang on Mr. Cooper, stuff like that. Like, before you guys were born. But you remember that show. You remember Hang on Mr. Cooper. But nowadays it's more improv and sketch guys that are getting shows and that are getting parts and stuff. So like, I think as far as Black people go in it, I think the representation is still small. I don't think people are like right now, especially, like, your show's not gonna fly if you got like a stereotype. Like, it's just not gonna pop off. So like, even those shows that would normally have that type of stuff are pretty much all white cast anyway. And there's still a lot of shows, I won't say no names because I got connections at places, but like some networks focusing on just the middle of the country, you know, and those people still like stereotypes. even when they're white stereotypes, they still like the nerd to have broken glasses with tape in the middle. They still like the girl to be hot and dumb. They still like the black guy to be like, man. They still like, the Asian dude to be over the top. They still like the Indian guy to be over the top. They still like to see that stuff, and they think that's what it is. And people are straying away from that more and more. They're realizing, so I think it's getting better, but it can always be more. Black people are underrepresented in television.
Totally.
Yeah.
Agree. You good? You good?
No.
That's fine.
No.
So, just from my angle, I think I don't remember if I mentioned this to you before, but I heard it on the podcast once where y'all were like, there could not be a Seinfeld show with just black people. Because a show about nothing to that extent, it just wouldn't fly.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be as big as Seinfeld is.
Yeah.
Atlanta's kind of like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
But Atlanta still has all the stereotypes in there, right? You got your thug who's a rapper.
Yeah.
You got your super underwhelming producer in there, right?
Yeah.
Who just has a really low key low income lifestyle.
I would say that the stereotypes, because here's the thing about certain stereotypes. I think Atlanta portrays blackness in a good way. And I think it shows a lot of stuff that hasn't been seen on TV. So yes, black people are rappers. That's fine to show. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, right.
But he's also struggling with a lot of inner demons, and the fame aspect is what you should be portraying, talking about more, as opposed to him being a rapper.
Right.
It's okay that he's a rapper. That's a real profession.
The stuff he has to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
That's totally right.
His
You're
mom
right.
being dead. All this type of stuff is better than, and Earn is a character that's you don't see in black people on television. He's a real dude. He's a piece of shit. But you want that. You've seen white pieces of shit. You've seen guys who are able to be layered. And I think Earn is layered, and so I think that show is good for the culture of just showing what different representations of everything. And it's also pretty all over the place.
Totally.
Seinfeld was a show about nothing. I doubt that any black person could have sold a show like that. Back then, especially.
Yeah.
Because when Seinfeld was on, you had black shows on television, but they all had a hook. You had Martin, who was just a dude with his girlfriend trying to make it, and it still had a thing. But to walk into a room and say this show about nothing, and it just starts, that's insane. You can't do that.
Comedian in the world now.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about, really.
Yeah, but I think once we get to that level where people have to respect us as layered and nuanced people first. They still are seeing us all in the same light. Yeah. So you can have a show like Seinfeld with all black people, and there will literally be people that be I don't get it. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? So people have to respect our nuances before that we can have something like that. And I think that's what we're striving to do. Especially my generation of people in comedy and stuff like that. It's we want our nuances to be respected. My group, white women, not trying to plug it, but plug. We are 6 dudes who are all so different from each other, and that's one of the the things that people say to us the most. Whenever they come see our shows, whenever they go, man, you guys are so different, but you fit so well together. You're so different. You're so different, and they're only saying that because they are just now realizing that they've never respected or given a chance for black people to be different. They think we're all Kool-Aid drinking rapper basketball players. They think everybody's like that. And there are people like that, and ain't nothing wrong with them.
Right.
Yeah. I love Kool-Aid.
Hey, Kool-Aid's good. What's your favorite?
I mix orange and red.
Orange and red?
Mm-hmm.
What's yours?
Mine is the fruit punch and lemonade.
Yeah, that's bomb.
Fire. And then you put sliced lemons in it, bro.
3 hours later. So,
fire.
That shit's bomb. Yeah.
That's